My name is EILEEN and my metric number is 298338. So I'm gonna briefly explain about the introduction. So Sony has evolved significantly since its founding. The company started as Tokyo to Shinkogyo in 1946 and changed its name to Sony in 1958. Though the name Sony is derived from the Latin word sonus, meaning sounds, and the English term Sony referring to someone who is young and energetic. So over the years, Sony expanded its global footprint with the branches in the United States in 1960, then expanded to the UK in 1968 and entered Spain and France in 1973. And in Germany in 1986. So Sony is the multinational corporation based in Japan, known for its diverse range of products and services in technology, entertainment, and finance. So Sony has a rich history of technological innovation. The TR-55 Japan first transistor radio was released by Sony in 1955. In 1960, Sony launched the world's first direct view portable television, the TV8301. So by 1989, Sony has developed the Handycam, a portable 8mm cam model that was simple and easy to use. So in 2003, Sony introduced the world's first Blu-ray disc player. In 2005, the company launched the high-definition Handycam, which was the world's smallest video camera at the time. Sony didn't just stop at electronics, it also made significant strides in the entertainment industry. In 1988, Sony formed Sony Music Entertainment from the CBS recorder label. In 1989, it established Sony Picture Entertainment.
Good day, my name is Taiwaju and my matrix number is 29822, and today I'm going to present about the Sony company products. Alright, so let's say about the products. Products is a good or services that are provided to the consumer in the market according to their needs. Alright, let's take a look in the Sony product line. The business of the Sony product line has camera, PlayStation, smartphones, and televisions. For cameras, Sony produced A7 Mark III, GFX3, and the ZVD10 for video photography. For the PlayStation, Sony produced PS1, PS2, until the latest version of PS5 for gaming purpose. And for the smartphones, Sony also produced Sony Xperia. For the smartphone, Sony produces Sony Xperia 1 Mark V and Sony Xperia 5 Mark V. For the television, Sony also produced Sony Z9J and the Sony A10L. Alright, let's dig into the PlayStation of Sony. PlayStation is actually a gaming device produced by Sony that the player will usually use the joystick to control, and we usually connect the HDMI cable through the television for the display. And PlayStation is actually a device that already dominates the gaming industry for decades. The latest version of PlayStation built in AMD CPU and GPU, which is a very strong chipset and processor for the gaming device that allows the players to play games in a very high resolution and get a very good experience and a gaming graphics. Alright, let's talk about the smartphone produced by Sony. Smartphones are usually a device that we use to communicate with our family and friends throughout the days. But year by years, the technology is improving and Sony is building their phone with a more advanced technology and a better system. What to say, advanced hardware? The Sony is building their phone with a 4K resolution screen and 48MP camera sensor, which allow the users to see their screen more clearer and more details, and enable the users to shoot images and videos in a higher quality. Then, the system enhancement also helps the Atmos, which allows the user to listen to a music or even a movie from different dimensions. The involvement of the Dolby Atmos will improve the experience of the users when they are using their phone for movies and even music. Thirdly, let's talk about the television produced by Sony. The television we are going to talk about is the Bravia line, which is the best-selling television for Sony and also one of the best television nowadays. So the Bravia series television provides a 4K resolution display and a HDR technology which allows the user and spectators to play back their videos, movies, and even images in the television in a 4K resolution with a more precise color and a more detailed image. Besides that, Bravia line television also include immersive sound effect to allow the users listen to the voice and watch their movie in a 6 dimension and immerse them into the movie. Last but not least, Sony also produces camera. Camera is one of the most popular products in Sony. As we know, a camera is a device that allows us to capture videos and images, and Sony are doing them very great. Sony produces two types of mirrorless camera. The first one is the full frame, and the second one is the APS-C, which is also known as the crop frame camera. Besides that, the mirrorless camera produced by Sony also built in a very advanced imaging sensor, which is the XMOD. The XMOD sensor allows the user to capture the images in a higher quality and a more precise color, details, and a minimum of chromatic aberration. And the BIONZAC XR image allows the camera to take a very high-speed burst image in a second and process them into the SD card. This is the total sales of Sony that we are acquired from the Sony Consolidated Financial Report from 2011 to 2023. So by looking at the graph, we can see that the sales of the Sony products are increasing throughout the years from 2012 until 2022.
Hi, my name is NURUL. My metric number is 298225, and I'm going to talk about the fundamental of demand theory. Demand refers to a consumer desire and willingness to buy products and services at different prices over the time. According to the law of demand, there is an inverse relationship between the prices of an item and the quantity demanded. When price falls, the quantity demanded typically increases, and vice versa. Factors such as customer preferences, income level, and product prices all influence demand. For example, the Sony FX3 camera priced at 90,000 demonstrates this concept well. Price reduction to 17,500 will likely lead to a significant increase in demand, illustrating the elasticity of demand. Understanding this principle is essential for catching market dynamics and consumer behavior. There are several factors that determine the demand for Sony cameras, including product price, consumer income, price of substitute products, and price of complement products. Sony Corporation uses demand theory by adjusting prices to influence consumer demand. Sony applies various pricing strategy across its camera segment to cater the varying levels of price sensitivity among consumers. For beginner cameras like the Sony A6400, priced around 4,000, demand is highly elastic. A small price drop can significantly increase sales, making this camera attractive to price-sensitive amateurs and beginners. In the intermediate segment, models like A7 series priced between 11,500 and 12,500 also show price sensitivity, but to a lesser extent. These cameras appeal to professional photographers who are willing to invest in quality but still mindful of prices changes. Finally, for high-end model like Sony A1 prices at 27,600, demand is inelastic. This means that even a significant price changes do not drastically affect the quantity demanded, as these cameras target professional and enthusiasts who prioritize features and performance over cost. Consumer income is a key determinant of demand. As income rise, demand for higher-end models like Sony A7 series and Sony A1 increases. Sony's product range is designed to cater to different income levels, ensuring that there is a camera available for every budget. Beginner cameras such as Sony A6400 appeal to consumers with limited financial resources. However, as disposable income grows, consumers often upgrade to more advanced models, showcasing the income elasticity of demand. Intermediate cameras like A7 series become more popular among serious hobbyists and professionals with higher income levels. High-income consumers are more likely to purchase expert cameras like the Sony A1, which offer top-of-the-line features and capabilities. This trend highlights Sony's ability to capture every segment market with varying income levels, ensuring competitiveness across different economic conditions.
My name is CHEUNG 29851, and I will continue to the price of substitute for Sony Mirrorless camera. Substitute refers to a product having similar use to another product. The substitute for Sony camera is Nikon camera because both of them are famous choice in the camera market. The comparison of price for Sony and Nikon camera will go through three levels of camera model: basic, intermediate, and advanced model. At the basic level, there's not a big difference between the price of Sony and Nikon, but the price of Nikon is little cheaper than Sony. At the intermediate level, Sony and Nikon had a huge gap between their price, which amounted to 3622 ringgit Malaysia. Lastly is the advanced model of the camera. Even though it did not have a huge gap like intermediate, the price of Sony is much higher than Nikon. Through the analysis above, we can conclude that Nikon has advantage in the market price, which is cheaper than Sony. Due to the price of substitute, the price of Nikon will affect the demand curve of Sony to shift to the left or right, Therefore, the Nikon camera is a price substitute for the Sony Mirrorless camera. Next, I'm going to explain how the price of the complement will affect the demand of Sony camera. The demand for Sony camera is inseparable from the demand of camera lens because a camera without a lens is incomplete to use for a photographer. There are many types of camera lens in the market, such as prime lens, zoom lens, and also other special function of lens. All of these lens is not cheap. Even though other brands of lens are more budget-friendly, such as AISYAH, Tamron, but the cost of having camera lens is still expensive. For example, a lens from Sony is selling at 8189 ringgit Malaysia, and a substitute from Tamron also costs 6960 ringgit Malaysia. As such, the price of purchasing lens indirectly affects the demand for Sony camera. Due to the complementary relationship between Sony camera and lens, when the price of lens increases, the demand for Sony camera will decrease and vice versa. The change in demand will shift the demand curve of Sony camera to the left or right due to the price of the complement changing. Next, let's talk about the other determinant that will change the demand of Sony mirrorless camera. The first is the advanced technology of Sony caused the demand for DSLR camera to move to Sony because it is smaller and lighter. Besides, it has faster focusing speed and create better video performance. And Sony mirrorless camera are taking the place of DSLR camera for fast-moving sport and action photography that were once demanded by a DSLR. In short, the advanced technology of Sony caused the demand in the market to continuously increase. Besides, the demand for Sony mirrorless camera was also influenced by a trend of social media. Nowadays, people like to use photograph to record live, and people are more willing to pay for a better quality photograph compared to paying a photographer to shoot a photo, which is expensive and has time limit. People are more likely to take their picture by themselves in any place at any time. In addition, today people like to share their lives through social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Therefore, the demand for Sony mirrorless camera is increasing due to the trend of social media. Furthermore, the demand for the Sony mirrorless camera is also affected by occupational demand. First is the increasing number of content creators during the pandemic COVID-19 period. Even now that everything is back to normal, people still use their free time to create content to generate income. This factor lead to an increase in the number of influencers, which increase the demand for Sony mirrorless camera. Subsequently, the trend of social media also affected people's hobby and ambition. The expo of social media has also increased people's interest in photography and make them inclined to become full-time photographer or freelancer photographer. Due to this trend, the demand of Sony camera is increasing.
My name is WONG. My matrix number is 298333. Now I will explain the promotional programs. Promotional programs are strategic marketing measures that aim to build brand awareness, boost sales, and cultivate customer loyalty for a product, service, or company. For the Sony company, it has conducted various promotional programs to promote its camera products, which are trade-in programs, warranty extension programs, loyalty programs, limited time discounts and bundles programs, and also photo contents and challenges programs. With Sony trade-in programs, consumers can exchange any brand of old camera for a credit or discount on purchase of new Sony camera models. This approach minimizes the financial burden of buying new equipment while encouraging clients to update to the newest Sony technology. For example, Sony ran the Sony Alpha trade-in programs. Customer could exchange any functional DSLR or mirrorless camera and receive a $200 bonus credit on top of the trade-in value when they buy a new Sony Alpha camera. Furthermore, customers who trade in their old lenses also receive a $100 bonus credit that could be used to buy a new Sony G Master lens. These trade-in programs improve brand perception and loyalty by drawing in new customers from competing brands and keeping hold of current ones. The warranty extension programs can let the customers who purchase camera goods from Sony have the opportunity to prolong the warranty beyond the typical duration. Longer warranties reassure customers and show Sony's faith in the robustness and dependability of their cameras. For instance,
Sony provided educators and students with a back-to-school promotion. If they purchase a new Sony Alpha camera or lens during this period, the standard 2-year warranty was extended to 3 years with an additional 1-year warranty. By providing longer warranties, Sony not only builds brand loyalty and consumer happiness, but also establishes itself as a company that stands by the dependability and quality of its camera goods. For Sony loyalty programs, customers can accrue points for their purchases like cameras or lenses, which can then be exchanged for more Sony goods, accessories, or special event access. This can incentivize consumers for their purchases and enhance customer loyalty. For instance, Sony offers a loyalty program called Alpha Rewards. Customers who buy Sony Alpha cameras and lenses can get points for every purchase, such as $1 equal to 1 point. They also can get discounts on subsequent purchases by redeeming points like 500 points equal to $50 off. Besides that, buyers have chances to take part in workshops, webinars, and special events. They can have exclusive first access to pre-orders and new product releases. These programs can show that Sony was able to create a more engaging and rewarding experience for its customer and fostering long-term loyalty. Next, Sony regularly offers limited time discounts and exclusive bundles on their cameras, which frequently include extra lenses, memory cards, and other accessories. Promotions like this increase the availability and appeal of high-quality equipment. For example, Sony has conducted the Sony Alpha A7 III bundle, a 64GB SD card, a camera bag, a Sony Alpha A7 III camera, and a 28 to 17mm lens are included. Customers who make purchase can receive a discounted price of $1,999. These programs offer significant savings and added value, leading more customers to purchase Sony cameras and related accessories during promotional periods. Furthermore, Sony presents many well-known photo challenges and contests within their camera promotional activities. These programs greatly increase brand exposure and engagement, and also highlighting Sony cameras' capabilities. Every year, Sony hosts the Sony World Photography Awards, one of the world's most prominent photography contests. Photographers will use and show the function of Sony cameras in this competition. Moreover, Sony held the Sony Vlog Challenge. Participants are required to use a Sony camera to produce a vlog. This program strengthens Sony's favorable brand perception and establishes the company as a pure and A in the photographic sector. There are some suggestions for Sony company to promote its camera products. Firstly, Sony can provide alternatives for personalizing cameras, like engravings or custom body colors, to make each customer purchase special. Secondly, Sony can introduce a subscription box service in which members receive monthly packages containing small devices that work well with Sony cameras, photography advice, and camera accessories. Thirdly, Sony can create an AR application that offers interactive lessons on photography. With AR overlays, users could aim their Sony cameras at different scenarios and get real-time advice and recommendation. These programs can increase customer interaction, boost the sales of camera products, expanding its market reach, and help Sony stand out from rivals.
So I'm gonna conclude all that we do for the research. First objective is discussing Sony's diverse range of products. So Sony has consistently demonstrated its commitment to innovations, quality, and adaptability to market trends. And also we have looked through the Sony total sales from 2011 to 2022. The second objective is to investigate the factors affecting the demand for Sony products. So by analyzing these factors, we can better understand the dynamic of Sony market present and the consumer behavior driving their sales. Our third objective is to analyze Sony cameras promotional program. So these strategies are designed to enhance customer engagement and drive sales. In addition to their current strategy, they are innovative suggestions that could further enhance Sony promotional effort. This innovative strategy can help Sony stay ahead in the market and provide unique experiences to its customers. So our group presentations video will end here. Thank you.